Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Cicero Planning Board meeting. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Chuck, would you lead us off, please? Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, we have liberty and justice for all. First order of business is the approval of the minute meeting from February 5th. Any questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkie.
Yes.
And I vote yes, minutes have been approved. Next, we'll open the meeting to public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the board on any active application, you may do so now. Given nobody's approached, we'll close the public input and move on to the first agenda item. This is a continuation of a site plan for a proposed remote ATM on Bartel Road. The applicant, please come on up. Welcome back.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Been here a few times. My name is Matthew Check of Stoneville Engineering and Design, here representing the applicant for the project Bank of America. I'm sure we all know the project. This is the Bank of America remote ATM in the Brewerton Center Shopping Plaza, just up the street. Just to remind the board, what the application is. We're installing a remote ATM within the grass parcel of the shopping center, just to the west of the parking lot. The one-way circulation traffic with a bypass lane, approximately, six or so area for a queue, right, to use the ATM. And then once you're doing your transaction, you can either go left on Brewerton Road or continue right throughout the parking lot and enter on Bartel and leave accordingly. We've been in front of the board a few times now to discuss some comments. We've coordinated with the attorney and town engineer here. I think there were just three items that we're discussing. One of them being the easement agreement between the two parcels. That draft was submitted and sent to town staff. It hasn't been reported yet, or we're waiting for determination on, from this board. If we get that approval, hopefully we will then, make the submission, to file the easement. Secondly was the lighting. We went back and forth on the lighting for the project. Just as a reminder, New York State requires security lighting standards for drive-up ATMs like this. So we've installed the necessary means for lighting. We went back and forth with Mr. Parrish, and we believe that the light levels were lessened based on his comments and are appropriate for the project. Also, we discussed at the last meeting just examples of this remote ATM in and around the area. I believe it was Bridgeport. There was an ATM that was similar to this, and then one on East Circle Drive. Those are comparable to what we're being proposed here. Not too sure if the board members were able to review what the lighting levels look like for those two similar applications, or those two similar installations of this ATM, but that's what we're proposing similar here. You remember, there was an issue with the canopy being slightly upward facing, we'll call it, about a couple degrees or so. And just to remind the board itself that that's just a prototypical surround is what we call it, that Bank of America just proposes, for the majority of their ATMs. We looked into seeing if there was an alternate that's just flat so that light is downward facing. It's not per their standard. They have this degree or two up light. So that's just unfortunately the prototypical standard that Bank of America has for basically all of their ATMs that are similar to the style. The last item we discussed was plantings. I know the board and the town is very positive about providing plantings to the site. We understand that. I think what we discussed was that it was just a slight concern for Bank of America to A, maintain it, and B, have the appropriate security measures just in case if bushes got a little large and trees grow a little big. You know, we have to meet those radius requirements, not just for the lighting, but Bank of America wants to understand that, you know, as funny as it might sound, just people hiding behind the bushes or the trees to potentially, you know, interfere with the transaction with their customer. So it's a security thing. Hopefully this board understands that. And just keep it back to the board. If any other questions, I'm more than happy to go through the application in more detail or any, answer any questions that the town staff have.
Thank you. Neil, you're comfortable with doing a condition approval subject to the easements being recorded?
Yes.
Mark, have you reviewed the new lighting?
It's the same as the last meeting. You know, we had an extended discussion on it and, you know, I think that explained what they were providing and suggested the board go out and look at similar installations, so they could make a decision.
Thanks. I did go see East Circle Drive. It's bright.
It is, you know, I wish it wasn't as bright as, you know, most are, but, you know, we understand the concern, just bringing it down slightly would just, you know, lights over time diminish, right? It's like your car lights or your lights in your home, like over time, they become less and less dim and effective. So, I'm not saying that like, it's not gonna be compliant, but over time, you know, Bank of America goes through a lot of lighting programs, where we upgrade their lights just due to the time and inefficiency of those lights being dim. So, they take it pretty seriously, just due to the lighting requirements, have their own lighting requirements as well. So to meet both standards, it's just unfortunately a little bit brighter than.
This exceeds the standards that were set in place by,
The state has their own security lighting standard. It doesn't exceed it. Yes, we understand that. But we want to give some flexibility there just to make sure that the security standards are. Bank of America does have like a third party sub that goes at night and checks the lighting requirements with the light meter. So, you know, we just, again, take it very seriously. We just want to make sure that the plan will be compliant for the state and the Bank of America.
you know, so our concern started with the East Circle Drive and, you know, the Burdick development. I think that's when we learned that, well, we got to control this lighting and, yeah. And certainly security is important around the ATM. But we're also concerned about the lighting being affecting other, you know, vehicles driving by and that kind of thing, and just being too glaring. I don't, what do you, anybody else got thoughts on it?
Well, what does, shrubbery are you proposing? Any or?
What is now there today is just a grass field.
Right.
There are some trees along the property line that you can see on the screen there. To the west of where this field is, I'll say, and then to the south. It's also set much lower than Bartell Road, so I don't know what the grade change is, but it's definitely sunken in. So, you know, and then again to the west, I'll say, right, there are this somewhat sizable buffer from the property line to the, I don't know if it's a residence or if it's a small business owner on the west-hand side. There is a small buffer there. We're maintaining to keep that buffer. And we're hoping that just because it's sunken in, it will be contained within this little ecosystem there.
Okay, was there anything proposed on the east side, next to the parking lot?
East side, we're actually installing above ground stormwater basin for the new impervious surface. So there will be grass there. And then just further beyond that is just the parking lot that exists today.
Okay, thank you.
You can kind of see that stormwater basin dashed out, just to the right of the.
Drive-in.
Right in here.
Yes.
We did talk about putting some landscaping. In fact, I think you mentioned that we could do some landscaping around that. I think we're gonna want to see some landscaping.
Yeah.
I know it's a maintenance issue,
Just low growth things.
but it's also an aesthetic issue for us.
Grass that has to be cut, so,
Right.
yeah.
I understand. I think if we can, you know, work with, you know, Mr. Parrish and his team to provide something that is okay with both parties, I think we can definitely install some landscaping in that than the stormwater feature. And just to be clear, like that stormwater feature is only a small depression. It's not like a big hole in the ground. This isn't anything like super, you know, it's not easy on the eye. I don't want to say that. It's very just a minor depression. It's not meant to be like a huge hole, and we can plant it around that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's gonna have to come back in front of this body for approval.
Okay.
I wanted to get input on the lights first, though. But I don't know if anybody else had a chance to go by East Circle Drive or the one up north.
I did. It's a little bright.
There's no houses though, right? It's commercial area.
Correct. That's true. Any thoughts, Zach?
I think I'm satisfied with the lighting you proposed. I think you scaled it down already. If it was right outside a neighborhood, yeah, I think it could be annoying, but if it's gonna make people comfortable to use the ATM, but it's not gonna be obnoxious, I don't see an issue.
I
Mike,
agree.
any thought? Good. Steve, welcome back.
Thanks.
Any thoughts?
No.
All right, so,
So why some tree plantings to the basin?
yes.
Okay.
Mark, do you have any additional input on the lights?
No. No.
I'll go with the majority of the board on the light, leaving it as it is. But adding some plantings like was discussed around the basin.
Understood. And then.
And unfortunately, we're gonna have to come back here in front of the board for that approval.
Oh, okay, is there any way that we could, I just don't wanna make sure that I don't underplant it or overplant it, I mean, overplanting, I'm sure.
You can't overplant
but
it.
I just don't wanna like come back and not be, you guys not be satisfied. So I just wanna make sure that, you know, we put our, best foot forward to make sure that, this board's satisfied. Anything particular type of planting, groupings, anything specifically that we've seen in the area that this board would like us to put in?
So safety is a main concern, so you want to make sure that it's something that's not gonna be visual impact on people utilizing the ATM. If it's a mixture of stuff that like is all year round, small evergreen type things, and then some shrubbery around there as well, Mark. I don't know if you have any added input on that.
Well, Steve, with this, do we think these for the?
I don't think we did. This was before that.
Yeah, I think it was before that.
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track, some low type shrubs, grasses, those types of things, and some bushes, again, you don't like to call them. Correctly reviewed. So. That's type of.
Yeah. And you can't have too much.
No, I understand. Again, I just wanted to make sure that, next time we're here, I just wanna make sure that everyone.
I get that, yeah.
Okay, so we'll, if you don't mind, might I send you a plan first? Or should I send it?
I just, do you think it's appropriate, so that way I'll get out and board and sure that. I guess, if anybody has any objections, maybe like, or comments, maybe like Steve or myself know, and then we'll communicate that. Okay, all right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Then we'll get it wrapped up next time, hopefully.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Stay safe out there too.
You as well.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is a amended site plan review, a continuation of that. This is for a proposed Dollar General on East Taft Road. Welcome back. How are you tonight? Good, thank you.
Mr. McCall, the developer from the property. I'll give a quick recap. We met once before, discussing the style of the building, and the differences of the two blocks. That were presented in, planning review at the beginning, so they were expected in the plan. So we went back and forth. We got
Can I interrupt 1 second? it's been mentioned a few times that the approved plans are what are up there now. I just want clarification of that. Because the approved plans from this body are not reflective of what was constructed. So when you talk about an improved plan, I just want to get that out on, because it's not making sense to me. So help me with that.
Presented the project preliminary at the beginning with the site plan, when given the site plan approval, there was a presentation of the elevations that were gonna be. For what the building's gonna look like.
Right, that this body approved.
That this body approved.
Okay.
After this body approved, our engineers completed the design with full plans and civil plans, architectural plans and whatever. Those architectural plans that were submitted to the council for review did include a smooth phase.
Submitted to the town, to the zoning office.
Yeah, for review.
So those plans were not reflective of what was approved by this body.
Correct, that was the difference here and there, that's what we're.
Was the town informed of that when you submitted the new plans?
That's why nobody, it was a change across the board from our tenant that carried over and was not pointed out that this change happened from that meeting to when the plans were submitted by the time the work came out.
Shouldn't it have been? Shouldn't they have been reflective of what this body approved?
Well, that's what the conflict is, that's why we were meeting to kind of address that.
What gets me is that I keep hearing the phrase that they're approved plans. And they weren't.
Well, I meant the submitted, the full plan, actually. The full architectural plans that were submitted.
That were not compliant with what should have been submitted. Okay. All right, so I had that correct in my mind then. Because I keep hearing it like an argument from the applicant that, well, these were approved, so well, let's just go forward. But they weren't,
Right, not by the body, correct.
not by the town of Cicero.
Yeah, I think what Mr. Mickle is trying to refer to is building plans were monochromatic. And if you look closely at the detail, they may have noted that there was a smooth face block that wasn't picked up on building review.
Right.
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. That has no bearing on this. Elevations that were proposed and approved by this board and was brought up to the contractor and was, I had many conversations with you during the site plan process about approving the architectural elevations of this building. So it shouldn't, as the chairman says, if there was a change that was in those building plans, it should have been brought to our attention. You were gonna do that.
Correct, and that's our point, that is the item that I was trying to point out that was missed, that we're trying to add, that wasn't trying to confuse what was approved and misuse of word.
Yeah, and it's in letters as well, that they were submitted, the ones that were approved. It's just, I wanted clarification because it seemed to me like the argument is, well, they were approved. But in my mind, what was submitted should never have happened. And if there was going to be a modification like you did, the town should have been informed of it, because there's no way the zoning office is going to review everything that this body did with the plans. So, all right, I just want to get the,
Right,
want to know
so to point out that this is the conflict we're trying to add between those two sets of plans that the contractor carried through with versus what was approved.
why wasn't the town informed?
It wasn't something that anybody paid attention to, because the architectural that they updated, they sent it all across the board, across the country. And they updated it without, we weren't even noticing the difference until it was, I didn't even know. Steve notified, tell you the truth. So it was an item that was, we're trying to clarify the conflict to make sure we move forward correctly.
Okay, perfect.
And there were a couple of different suggestions of what the admin said and how to, what are a few things we can do. Obviously, we would rather not take it down and, rebuild. So for the discussion, we met on site over an option for connecting the sidewalk. That did turn out not to be feasible. So that gave the neighbor, hitting a sidewalk on the property. So the option we ended up thinking with thinking of our landscaping, to kind of combination of different things where a bunch of shrubs were added to continue the loop around the parking, and some boards were filled in with larger trees. And to the note from the comment letter, tree tops were swapped out to evergreen versus others that were not. There was a combination of cleaning up our landscape plan.
So I visited the site. And the material that's there now is like a cinder block. Right? It looks like that, of different color. Right?
Right, all the difference is the texture on it, the other would have been just a, marker surface. Same color, same inside. Same height.
Did you have a chance to review the architectural report that was done by the town?
Comment whether there was this from municipal design review?
Yes. So on alternative finished materials, he wrote that the current construction is a smooth face CMU. It's commonly utilized as a subrate material and provides the ability to apply a variety of finished materials upon its surface. A few options for consideration below, and he shows them. And actually, it's on Dollar General stores and other locations. So it's not removing it, it's putting a veneer look on top of that block that's in place. Then I actually took a trip to Ogdensburg a couple weeks ago, and I stopped at a couple of Dollar Generals on the way over. You got a lot of stores. And they had the same type of thing, this veneer block.
Right, and you can see the phase where they made that change, because obviously it happened after we presented some of the board. And during the process where we're starting the design, that was the time where they switched that across the board. Some of those stores were constructed before that time.
They being the store, the site.
Stores that had what they were talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not concerned about what they want to put up. I'm more concerned about what the town wants to put up.
Right, of course, yeah.
And I don't like that block.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of the board, so I'm gonna open it up and let some other people chat as well, so. Jim?
It would be nice to see something different than what's there.
Well, I was informed there is an option of adding a texture finish.
Say that again?
Texture finish over it since it's already installed, to give it that same,
Like,
full face look,
like stucco?
right?
Where's your pictures? The stucco, he does mention the stucco. I talked to our architect engineer, and he says that the stucco, you can do it, but it doesn't hold up well. Tends to chip and fade and fall off. So he's recommending something more like this. Something more like what he shows in his pictures in the review letter that Anthony did.
Mind if I,
Mind if he takes it?
No, yeah, these are copies you can have.
Welcome. And they're similar to what Anthony did. I think any of them are better.
Is that more like flagstone? Is that what it looks like?
So that product would go right over the concrete.
That's my understanding of what Anthony is saying, yes. And you as well, right?
Stone,
Yeah.
it's like veneer.
So you don't have to take the cinder block down, you can just put a material over it.
Yeah.
Something like that. That would be more reflective of what was approved by this body.
That's what I would like to see.
or the.
Yeah. You said you would have to take the block down to do the original? But, yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to, I can't say yea or nay, because I wouldn't know the construction cost, material looks like, anything about this material, and it's gonna have to go back to our construction group to let us know what that condition would look like. And I guess, we'd have to, can we from now be able to be on the next agenda, or we have a.
Give us this information by the 13th, I think, is when we're gonna make, before that. The meeting is the 15th, I think.
March
We're
5th.
gonna set the agenda
March
on the, when is it?
Next meeting is March 5th.
We'll have
But-
to send them before the.
Yep. You gotta get in at least the week before.
Yeah, the week, A week before is fine. What's that? Yeah. I know they're anxious to get the store open and we'll work with you, but we're gonna do it properly.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. That concludes the agenda items. Any questions or comments from the team? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion,
Go ahead.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned. Go home and shovel.